you gotta pay attention. The pitch is coming relatively quick, and I actually do like it. It puts pressure on the batter. There's no more Derek Jeter. I'm going to get out of the box. I'm going to fix my gloves. I'm going to tap my cleats. I'm going to dig my foot in. I'm going to look around. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to go through all these little gyrations that take like a total of a minute and a half. And all of that is gone now. And what is amazing is that the games are showing themselves to be about 2 hours and 35 minutes now. And which is really, I mean, look, I love baseball. I played baseball. I've been a lifelong Mets fan. I've sat through some of the worst games and some of the best games. And now comes this. And this is going to create some issues. There's no question. Manny Machado already got called out on a strike because he wasn't in the box.
Well, you saw how one of the games ended.
We saw it, of course. I mean, but this is when it should happen this way. It should happen in spring training, and the players need to get used to it. Now, it was interesting reading an article on Buck Showalter and how he's dealing with this, because, Buck, he's like the Bill Belichick of managers, although he hasn't won the championships that Bill has. But he's still somebody that people regard as like the godfather of baseball for whatever reason. Whether you do or you don't, I do. Mm-hmm. And listening to him give a couple comments about the nuances of this whole thing and the strategy behind it and how it's going to affect whether they're calling signals or how they're going to call signals to guys that are on the base paths. I mean, it's really going to be fascinating to see how this whole thing unfolds. Now, the people in the minors have done this. They've lived with it. They've adjusted to it, and it's been fine. But now that it's at the major league level, to me, anyway, watching it over the weekend was actually kind of fun. And then hearing Max Scherzer saying that he believes that there's an advantage for the pitcher and that he will be able to exploit certain little nuances within the pitch clock is going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it does really affect the game.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear any of these guys complaining about it, meeting managers and players. This is something that is important for baseball. The biggest problem that baseball has had from an on-field standpoint is the length of these games, the length of the regular. There's too much time. There's just too much baseball.
How about Steve Traxel pitching to
the human rain delay?
Well, pitching to Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I mean,
think about those two players and the nonsense that went on with those guys. And, and I know that it was like who they were as players and it's what they were all about. And they needed that time for them to be successful. No longer. No longer. Now it's like, what I love about Giancarlo Stanton, he stays in the box.
Yeah.
He's always stayed in the box. Mm-hmm. And you like a guy that stays in the box.
That's right. Keep it in the box.
Stay in the box. And this is going to force it. And there is no question watching games over the weekend that it is going to have a profound effect on us watching the game, because it is moving at a pretty fast pace.
Yeah, and that's what it needs to be. I mean, and baseball needed to adjust, and it did. This is finally something that really, really changes things. And pace of play is a big issue. I mean, I'm not someone who is a Gen Z, 18 years old, who really has a terrible attention span, but I'm 40 and I've got a pretty bad attention span, and it's getting worse because of the world we live in, and stuff like this is more appealing to me when it's faster. It just is.
Well, let me speak for the 60 and above crowd.
Yeah.
We're all, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
A lot of older fans are getting ticked off because
exactly.
They want to sit around and they want to meander just like the game has meandered over the years. But for me, somebody who does love baseball and who does watch it for a living, not only my own team but other games and watching other games this weekend, I'm just telling you, it's fascinating just watching the whole thing. There was Cespedes' brother was up for the White Sox yesterday. Mm-hmm. So this is me watching the Angels and the White Sox.
Okay.
And I figured there was a young pitcher on the mound, and he had already been brought up to Double-A, and Wayne Randazzo was doing the game, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And so it was kind of interesting listening to Wayne do the game, and he was talking about this young pitcher, about how, I'd like to see him up in the majors. Maybe he's on the fast track. He's already had Tommy John, and he's throwing like 100 miles an hour. And, I mean, this guy was getting the ball and throwing it, and to the point where Cespedes was going so fast, he ended up looking and striking out, as he was called on a strike 3. But to me, that little glimpse of what it was going to be like is made me very satisfied, G.
Oh yeah, of course. Me too. I was thrilled about it. Made me more excited for baseball season. A regular season game in a sport other than football, to me, 2.5 hours is the perfect amount of time.
It's a hockey game. By the way,
it's a college basketball game too.
Right.
A little less than that in college basketball.
Now the NBA has got to get rid of like 17 timeouts.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of timeouts that are in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game is just freaking maddening.
Sure.
It is the one thing that it just drives me crazy. You know, the fouls, the timeouts, the whole thing. And I would think that, I don't know if the NBA will ever look at this, but they should look at this and say to themselves, you know, these games got to get over with. And, you know, I would like to see them modify some of that stuff and I know the hardcore basketball fan out there is going to disagree with me, but I mean, how much time is spent the last 3 minutes of a close game in an NBA game? Real time.
Oh,
any
God.
idea?
I mean, it's you got to at least quadruple the amount of time that's on the clock to real time. I mean, that's what it is. Just one after another, and the timeouts, and they're squeezing in commercials. It's insufferable. It's a terrible watch. I mean, and then on top of it, the game itself has been very, very difficult to watch. But yeah, no, at the end of those games, it's horrible.
So 3 of the major sports in this country have modified their rules to get the games a little bit shorter, to keep them moving, and to, you know, have continuous action, if you can say that as continuous action, whether a guy strikes out or gets a hit. And I think baseball, with the modified shift rules and the larger bases and everything else, is also trying to create some offense. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be interesting as this thing unfolds. And then when we get into the regular season, you got to believe the first month to 6 weeks, there's going to be a lot of these things that end up happening and being called. And that's going to make even for more discussion about the game of baseball because, you know, baseball's been lagging.
Yeah, and then the example at the end of the game where, you know, bases loaded, you think you're going to have a situation where there's going to be a walk or whatever it is, and the guy gets called out because he didn't get in the box quick enough with 8 seconds left on the clock, and then he gets called out. And I saw a lot of, you're not going to see this in the regular season. Don't worry about it. You're not going to see it in the regular season. So I thought to myself, well, why not? So you're going to tell me now that when the regular season starts, you're not going to enforce the rule? What are we talking about?
No, I think what most people are believing is that the players and managers will adapt to the rule, much like they have adapted in the NFL. You know, and I always think back to the middle of, like, I want to say it was like after 2006, they modified, you know, the defensive holding rules, and they made it much more difficult for defensive backs to cover wide receivers because they wanted more offense. And they watched Ty Law just basically hold Marvin Harrison in the entirety of a playoff game.
Yep.
And so they basically modified the rules. So I sometimes they're good, sometimes there's bad, you know. But I don't know. I just watching the games over the weekend, it was amazing watching how fast it was going.
Yeah, I mean, and I knew that it was going to change the game. I guess was naive to the fact that I didn't think it was going to change it that much. And by the way, they do have the clock most of the time in these games. It's visible to the viewer right now. It's not going to be that way when the regular season starts.
Well, they should have. They have that bug in the corner. They should just do it like the NBA does it. You know, I have it up there like a 24-second clock. Why not?
Yeah, I guess. I'm just talking about the one that's there for the players to see. That's slightly distracting but I mean, yeah, you could have it like that, like the Yes Network has it there, which is interesting. I mean, do you want to see that every time though, or is that distracting?
I would like to see you see the bug up in the corner.
Yeah.
Just have a little drop down.
Little drop down area?
Maybe a little drop down, and then we'll see how it goes. But it's
that guy got hit in the nuts with the ball there?
He might have been, yeah. But I don't know if he wears a cup. Most guys don't wear a cup, but maybe first basemen do wear cups. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You would think.
Yeah, maybe.
I would hope so. Right. A lot of bounces there.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen Waldron, CBS. Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Good morning, guys.
Yeah, so why did you choose that highlight? Because that guy got hit in the nuts with the pop? Is that why?
No, because it had the pitch clock in the bottom right, like you guys were talking about.
Oh yeah, but he got hit right in the stones.
Right, but you did notice how he got hit in the nuts with the baseball, right?
As soon as you said that, yeah, I did.
Yeah, all right, very good.
Well, it was a judge signal, so that's how we have it called.
Right, okay. Well, you picked a good highlight there, Stephen.
By the way, Stephen, do you like the pitch clock or no?
It's certainly different. The the big story was the Braves game that got called on the violation.
Yeah.
Curious to see if that happens in the regular season.
Yeah, but see, that's exactly what Steven said right there. Oh, see if it happens in the regular season. Well, maybe, because those are the rules. It should be happening in the regular season. You're going to tell me that the umpires are just at that point going to be like, you know what? Because this is a critical situation, let's not enforce the rules at this point?
No, it's going to happen, man. I'm telling you, it is going to happen.
You are out. You are out. And he just starts laughing, the guy. But, yeah, I mean, this is the new normal, as they say, Boomer. This is the new normal in baseball.
I'm not even sure that the umpires truly understand it all yet either. You know, especially when it comes to, I don't know, the shift. Can there be a 5-man infield and a 2-man outfield?
We saw that in a game. There was a 5-man infield.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not the shift, but there's always, just as you mentioned Belichick before, there's always somebody who is going to find those loopholes to figure things out that the people who came up with the rules didn't think of when they made the rules. I mean, and no one was really thinking about 5-man infields when they banned the shift.
I mean, you know, the thing about all of this is that, you know, at least Major League Baseball has the minor leagues to run this stuff through.
Yeah.
To see what happens and see how it impacts the game. And then if they feel like it has a positive impact, then they can bring it to the majors. It's not like the NFL can, you know, run this through college football or the XFL or the USFL. Maybe they could take some of the ideas that some of these teams have or these leagues have, but they're really not going to do that. Major League Baseball controls minor league baseball, so therefore they can run some of these rules as a testing ground, which turns out to be exactly what's going on here right now. So for me anyway, just the first weekend of it, it was startling because it's happening so fast, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah, and I bet you there are lots of, and we'll get calls on both sides of it, but I bet you there's lots of older baseball fans who hate it, who hate the idea of this, that it's going to ruin the game for them. The fact that it's untimed and you could sit around and it doesn't matter what's going on. And if the game went 3.5 hours, who cares? There's going to be a lot of those folks who absolutely are going to hate this. But like for someone like me, you know, if you're telling me that most of the games are going to start at 7 and end at 9:30, I mean, that to me is a dream come true. A majority of the games are going to be over at 9:30. That doesn't happen. I mean, you know, we're up 10, 10:15, 10:30.
For what we do, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? This is great. That's why I think that's what we're so excited about.
Yes.
Like you're telling me a majority of the game, even if they start like some of these first pitches are 6:40 or something, like you have a 6:40 in a 2.5 hour game.
Done by 9?
Holy hell.
Holy hell is right. That's
I've been asking for this my whole life.
I will say that, you know, for however the NHL did their clock timing and no commercials on icings and things of that nature.
Yeah.
It has made the game, it's sped up the game, and it's made the game a lot more enjoyable. It just really has. And, you know, the fact that, you know, there's only one timeout per team and very rarely do the coaches even use that. You know, they may use it for a challenge or whatever, but it very rarely ever stops the game. And when you have a game where there aren't a lot of face-offs, I mean, that game is flying by. And the only reason that game doesn't go any faster is because they got to put the Zambonis on the ice. That's the only reason.
Right. Yep.
And really, I'll tell you, going to the Garden or going to UBS, knowing that you're going to be there, let's say, for a total of 3.5 hours. Get there a little bit early. You know, you may hang a little late just to let some of the traffic go or whatever. It's 3.5 hours.
Yep.
It's doable. It's manageable, especially for what we do for a living, but also like if you have kids.
Well, there's lots of people who are very, very busy with their lives that want to go to games, and faster games means better quality of life.
I would think if you want to take a kid to a game and the game starts at 6:40, you're more likely to do it now if you feel like you're going to get out of there by 9 o'clock.
That's right, and not miss half the game.
I don't know. I just felt it was fast. It took me a while to get used to it, but I kind of liked it. And watching this one duel between this pitcher and Cespedes' younger brother, it was like all I needed to know about exactly what the hell this was going to be, because this kid was catching a ball and firing it, catching it and firing it. You know, I think it was one fouled off. There was one ball. There were 2 strikes, and then he got called out on the 3rd strike. It was over.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. I liked it. So
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.